All right, welcome everyone to Chat with a Grad. This is Bowman College's chance for students and prospective students and alum to gather and chat about what we do with our culinary education and our nutrition education. So really great to have everybody here with us today. I'm Carrie Bonfido. I'm the culinary program manager, and I get the privilege of talking to Nanette King, who is a graduate of ours from the Holistic Chef program. And Nanette is a business owner. She runs the Logan Berry Inn, which is a premier bread and breakfast in Missouri. And so we're going to spotlight you, Nanette, so everyone can see you. And we're gonna just tell us about what you're doing, how you're cooking for people, how you're engaging with food, as well as how it became that you became a bed and breakfast owner.
Yeah, so hello, thank you. Um, so I graduated from the program 3 years ago. I went while I was still living in California. One of my old bosses actually went to Bowman, and kind of things went from there. And I found the program based on some personal needs and everything. And as we were going along, and at the time, we were kind of looking to move closer to family. I have a 7-year-old and now a 2.5-year-old. And yeah, my dream had always been to have a bed and breakfast since like high school, but I never thought it was possible because, they're usually very expensive houses if you look online. But we started looking, and it was really important to me to have it be close to family, either my husband's family, who's outside of Boston. So we were kind of looking at upstate New York. And then this one just kind of happened to be close to my family, and it ticked all the boxes. So the house was built in 1899, so there's a lot of quirks with that. If you've ever lived in an old house, it started out with one bathroom and now there's 8. So lots of plumbing issues. That's real fun. Uh, the kitchen is quite old as well to deal with, but not from that time. It's like late 80s, I think, 1980s. And so there's some considerations there, but it's been a bed and breakfast for 30 years. So that was one of the things we were looking at. It was already established. We could afford it, and it had really good reviews already, because I did not want to start from scratch, which is very expensive, and I didn't want to try to rebuild something that already had like a negative, uh, you know, reputation. So it just happened to tick all the boxes. There's 2 small colleges here in town that keep people coming through. That was another consideration. Why do people come here? To keep business all year versus a lot of bed and breakfasts are very seasonal. We have a highway that kind of goes nearby, the 70 that people travel a lot of times from like Georgia to Colorado. That seems to be a very popular route. So yeah, we get people from all over. We get parents from the schools. So these were all considerations when looking for the business. And I was actually we were looking for the business while I was in culinary school. So the part where we were doing the business um, outline thing at the end was very important. And I will say there was a huge wake-up call for what you think your business is going to be, and then what reality kind of um, gives you. So when we bought the business, I came in, I was like really excited because I love vegetables, and used to California with things available all year and people eat a certain way. And I come here and, people don't eat as many vegetables in the Midwest, at least not um, the same kind of vegetables that I like to eat. I get a lot of people not wanting onions, not wanting bell peppers, not wanting mushrooms. Um, you're like, wow, those are kind of standard omelet ingredients, or
Right, for breakfast, you
that's
would
so
think.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get a lot of, oh, I don't do seafood, Um, I probably the main one I get is gluten free. The second popular one would be like dairy free, and then like vegetarian, and then vegan. And then I do get like the nut allergies. So I just basically tell everybody that I can make food for that, but I'm not a allergy free kitchen or anything. And most people just for the most part are like, yeah, that's fine. It's not serious, or it's just a preference, or I have my EpiPen, get that one on the nut allergies. Um,
Do you
so
have
yeah,
like an intake form that you're using with people to figure out what you're going to be making? Because you're planning a breakfast. So a bed and
yeah.
breakfast, people come, they stay in the inn.
Yeah, so we have 5 rooms. So basically, I can have like 12 people. So it's not huge by any means. So yeah, when they book or when I talk to them or when they check in, I just ask, what are there any dietary restrictions, preferences, that kind of thing. So over the last 3 years, I've kind of figured out my like core breakfast combos. Um, and unfortunately, you know, I think times have changed with bed and breakfast where before, or in some areas, like we're more of like a hotel alternative just because of the options that are here. So people are not looking for necessarily for the B&B experience with like their romantic partner or whatever. So people pretty much just want standard fare. So unfortunately, um, a lot of my breakfasts are just scrambled eggs, which I weirdly get so many comments about people loving my scrambled eggs. So pay attention in your egg little thing there because you'll learn how to make proper scrambled eggs. It's very important. Um, and then like some kind of meat, and then like a baked good or something. So as we've gone through, and I think Chef Lizette Marks like made a comment during one of our things saying like, sometimes it's just about the quality of the ingredients, not necessarily trying to get people to eat, a certain way. So I do spend the extra money and I seek out, uncured meats as natural I can get. Um, you know, pasture raised eggs as much as I can, you know, natural syrups. And so I try to really concentrate on the quality of the food and the ingredients that I'm doing and making everything, as good as I can possibly make it. I'm very picky about my baking. So sometimes too picky. Always like, oh, that could have been better. Um, there's good days and bad days. Some days people love what you make, sometimes they don't. I don't have, I'm not a short order cook, so I don't ask what type of eggs you want. You're pretty much going to get scrambled eggs. That way, I also don't have to put out, the notices of if you eat undercooked food or whatever, you get all that. I do get inspected by the state and the county. I have my little certificates all over the wall. I even have my Bowman one, and I get asked about that a lot. What does it mean to be a holistic chef? Um, but yeah,
What
the
is, wait,
food.
wait, wait, wait. What's your answer to that? What is your answer to what does it mean to be a holistic chef?
Well, my usual answer is that um, we concentrate more on specialty diets, food sourcing, um, over like proper French technique, even though we learn all the chef techniques, but it's more about food quality and the diets and working with people to, um, help them eat nutritiously, sometimes on a day-to-day basis or, um,
Accommodating their,
yeah, so yeah, I'm not freaked out if somebody, people think it's really scary if they have to tell me that, oh, I don't do dairy, it's like, okay, like that's cool. Like we can get around that. And a lot of people are just really grateful that they don't have to get stuck eating, um, you know, just the eggs, or, like they don't want to feel like a burden, or they want to, they're really grateful that they actually get to eat food, because I do accommodate, as best as I possibly can, um, any dietary preference that comes through, because I have a history of certain times when I've had dietary issues and changes, and so I understand a lot of the struggles, and uh, like probably one of the hardest ones to do for long term, especially if you're like traveling or doing things, is like the gluten-free, dairy-free. Um, so you're not just, that one's a hard one.
So you really become a destination for people, and they, as you're saying, you've got the colleges that are supporting, so you might have people traveling to the area for a number of years. Do you see like repeat customers because they really do feel like they're seen when they're coming to your place?
Oh yeah, like so I have, like parents that routinely come in until their kid graduates. So, that could be a 4-year relationship, depending. I have one couple, she's gluten-free and he will eat anything, but they travel all the time from Arkansas to Illinois. So I get to see them twice, because they go from Arkansas, stop here, and then go up to Illinois, and then stop here on the way back, and then come back. So, yeah, and I give discounts for their stay and everything for repeats, because the best compliment is like a repeat guest, where because they're paying more of a premium to stay here. So this town, despite the fact that it's a college town, does have like I think 5 hotels that are definitely not good. I've stayed in one back when we were purchasing this place, and we are the better alternative. Um, so some people, don't mind paying the higher price per night to get that more customized service. So um, that is the advantage of a B&B, is you also get more personalized care and quieter space, less people. We have amenities, that you don't get at the hotel, you don't have to pay for. Like we have free water, snacks, that kind of thing. And people just, I don't know, it's just a different lifestyle. If you've never stayed at a B&B, it's just different. And every B&B is different. So a lot of them have like a group breakfast at like 9 o'clock. Like that's breakfast time. Ever, you're there, you're not there, and you're sitting with everybody at a communal table. We have 2 tables against the wall and one in the middle, and it never fails. Like everybody wants the wall tables first, because nobody wants to sit in the middle of the room, and I can't help it because my room's only so big and I only have so much wall space. But we do not dictate, like I have a breakfast window that people can come down, so they really appreciate that. Um, but yeah, a lot of the business and getting to do it is, the more experience you get, the kind of easier it is, and you kind of figure it out, because when I first started, I was making all kinds of weird things, honestly, and I was struggling with food waste. I was trying to bring in my, um, desires, and it just was not always jiving with people's expectations for this area. And so that's why I've ended up paring down my menus and just kind of working through those. And it's cut down a lot on my, it's easier on groceries, it's easier on food waste. I know based on how many people are staying, like which thing I can make, which thing freeze well that I can, make a big batch of muffins, put them in the freezer, and when I only have that time when 2 people are here, I can just dig those out instead of spending all my time, um, you know, making everything new again, so um,
Can you take
yeah.
us through a little bit of like, so you're preparing breakfast, right? So that's an early morning thing. Are you doing a lot of cooking at night, or and then have so you're ready for the breakfast service? Like, so what is your schedule?
Yeah, so I used to do more at night than I do now. I've just found that I mean, I also have two kids and I'm trying to do other things. Uh, so basically my night routine is make sure the table's set, get the coffee programmed, and then make sure my kitchen's clean. Dishes are done from dinner, like everything's because the kitchen I use for the business is also our personal kitchen. So that's just how it is. I wish it wasn't, but that's how it is. So I get to deal with all of our personal meals, make sure that's all away so that everything's ready to go in the morning. So then I get up, well, depending on what I'm making, but for the most part, I get up at the same time. So um, I'm usually in the kitchen by 7 o'clock at the latest, so that I can get everything going, um, get the oven preheated, things mixed up or whatever. Um, you know, so it just depends on what I'm making. But a lot of times what I'm making is based on how many people I have and if there's like a specialty thing. So like if I do have somebody gluten-free, like I try to make as close to the other people's breakfast as possible. So it's not like a standout experience like, oh, I'm gluten free so I have to have this, it's like, oh, it's not a big deal, I'm also enjoying a similar thing that everybody else is, because I really feel like that psychologically helps people enjoy the experience too, where you don't feel singled out, I guess, per se. So
That makes a lot of sense. And so you mentioned the inspectors and you mentioned your home
Mhm.
kitchen is the B&B kitchen. So was that experience like getting inspected? Did you prepare anything to make that happen? Like what are they looking at? What does the inspector do?
um Well, you don't know when they're coming. So you could be in the middle of who knows what. Usually they do come like kind of mid-morning is seems to be like when they've arrived the last, well, three times. The first inspection was the worst because we were the new owners. So that was a more thorough inspection than the after ones. The state inspectors pretty much are just coming in and looking at all of our fire safety. Weirdly, they just want to go around and make sure all of our smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors work, all of that. After our first inspection was different. They looked at everything, but after that, it's just been like a fire safety check. Um, and then the food safety has been turned over primarily to the county. And they also do the fire alarm. So our fire alarms and everything get checked like twice a year. Um, and every time the county gets really confused because we have electric fireplaces in all the rooms and they get stuck in a room like trying to test something and looking up information. I have to go find them. They're like, we're just looking to see if about the carbon monoxide detectors and what the regulations are for the fireplaces. I was like, well, they're electric. Oh yeah, well they're fine then. Like every year, like I don't know, I need a sign on them. These are electric. Okay. Um, and then, but they do look at the kitchen. They ask about how I wash my dishes. They don't do a whole lot actually. They're, I don't know, like the first one was more intense. They like looked under the sinks. We had some like bug kill like ant gel or something under there and like, well, you can't do that. You have to call an exterminator. So we're like, oh, okay. So now we know when to hide things or like keep it in a different area if we like don't keep that under the sink, keep it downstairs or something. But yeah, we're not trying to get away with anything. It's just it's hard when it's also your personal space and the business space. So um yeah, everything gets, through the sanitized wash. Um we have a separate refrigerator for the business food. We do have a separate fridge for that versus like our personal fridge. We have different dishes that I use. and that kind of thing. But other than that, it's, same space, same kitchen, and I'm constantly just cleaning the kitchen. I don't know what it feels like. That's my space.
It's wonderful to talk with you. I'm gonna open it up to any other questions as well, because one of the things that I think is really smart that you did is to buy an existing business. I know that a lot of entrepreneurs and people who are in the program think we need to start something from scratch, which can often be the hardest way to start a business because, like you said, you don't have the reviews, you don't have um, the the uh, the customer base already, right? That you could possibly convert into being your customers. So can you, before I turn it over, can you just talk about what you do for advertising? Like do you have to get the word out? Like how are you bringing people in?
So yeah, I think, because it was a pre-existing business, unfortunately, and it's been, 30 years, I'm the fourth owner, as for this bed and breakfast. But that also means that the website address has stayed the same. The name of the business has stayed the same. The phone number has stayed the same. Email address has stayed the same. So I get a lot of spam and different things because I don't know what the previous owners have done. But that also means that a lot of previous photos and um, some links and things that other people did, like there was a hot tub here that we got rid of right away. So some people will find old photos, and so I have to clarify some things for that. But luckily, I got to start like my own Expedia, which has been, they take your money, obviously, because they're that kind of business. But we have actually gotten a lot of exposure through them. I've also, Chamber of Commerce has sent some people through, so I've worked with them. Um, and I think the main thing is basically just we're very fortunate here that we've already existed. We keep getting the good reviews. Like a lot of, I mean, I'm so grateful when people just leave us good reviews because, it's just bumping the old information further down, which helps. Not that they were bad, but it just clarifies more information. And when we first bought it, I tried very hard to post that, we are the new owners, new management and things.
Are you
But
doing that ask for the reviews or are you letting it happen organically? Are you like do you have like a system where you like they stayed and then you email and like actually do the ask or
No, because I hate it when businesses do that to me. So I
right?
try to not be obnoxious. But we do have, my husband was like, we need to ask for reviews. So he made this little like scan code thing that kind of links to all of our pages if somebody wants to. But I have never said, please review us. If you review us, you can get the such and such. I have never done that. It's just they're all totally the customer's choice, the guest's choice to do. Um, especially like the ones that aren't on Expedia because they physically have to go to, um, Expedia is always like review your last stay, and it's kind of automatic. But the like Google, Yelp, any of those are like the people are actually choosing to review on those. So I'm always very grateful for that. But yeah, my sister actually, at the same time we were starting this, was starting from scratch a vegan restaurant in Brooklyn, New York. And so it's been really interesting to kind of see her side of things, trying to start a business from scratch out there, especially in a big city, versus like kind of how easy it's been for me. Um, I haven't had the same kind of stress as she has had. Location is super key because, like I said, like when we were looking, there's a lot of places that are seasonal. You have to think about who's coming, what is drawing traffic in. Is it purely tourism? Are there other reasons people are coming in? So it's honestly because I like concentrated on all of those things before. I think it made the acquisition and the experience a lot easier, as far as still bringing in guests and people. So I honestly haven't had to do a whole lot of advertising. We do work with the schools. I have put out a couple ads in some magazines with like, nobody's ever told me, oh, I booked because of this, so um, another thing, as a business owner, you will get bombarded with people wanting donations, money donations. Um, and I love supporting kids. I love supporting pets. I love supporting, veterans, but you can't do it all. So I've really had to kind of balance what does my heart want to do to like support the community versus where will it actually benefit us, which is another consideration as far as like advertising and supporting your local community, that kind of thing.
That's really interesting. And what have you found is that balance for you? Is there a particular organization that you feel good about and makes sense for the business?
Yeah, I definitely go for like some personal things as far as like, like the like kind of Secret Santa thing at Christmas or something, or uh, you know, like food banks, especially right now. Um, I we get calls all the time like, oh, for $250, you can have your name on a t-shirt, that the kid's gonna wear once, and it's like, okay, but I'm not really into that thing anyway. So like, I don't know, it's just, it kind of comes and it's just kind of a um I do tend to lead more toward kids and any type of supporting them um thing, because it's where my heart lies, I guess.
Well, wonderful. All right. Well, so I've asked, I think, enough questions. What about anyone in our audience? Does anyone have any questions for Nanette about her business, about her guests, about her menus, any of that? Jasmine.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Nanette.
Hello.
Thanks for taking time to talk to us. So, my dream also is to open a bed and breakfast. I would like to open, my husband and I, a plant-based bed and breakfast. So I was very excited for you to talk to us today. Question on the top of my mind is, you said that you share the kitchen. So does that mean that you live in the bed and breakfast?
We do. So, we bought this beautiful house and we live in the basement. So, they used to actually rent out the room that is like our main room, and then there's a smaller room down there that used to be like the innkeeper's quarters, which is where my kids are. Like I said, they're still small, so I don't know what's going to happen in the future when they don't want to share a room anymore. But for right now, yeah, we live in the basement. We live on site. That was another important thing because we couldn't afford like a mortgage and rent. And not every B&B has a good like owner's quarters. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah, like, how much space do you need? And will it work on site? And, a lot of places like you need to be on site or have somebody on site for guest questions or issues, or I fix a lot of TV channels and things like that. How do I get the TV to work? That's a common one. So you got to have somebody there to do that.
Okay, cool. And anything else I can think of? That's all I've got right now.
No, that's exciting. Yeah, no, it's just know that it's possible. It is possible.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're kind of I live in Norfolk, Virginia, so we're right by the Atlantic, and it's a big military area. We do have a couple of colleges, so I definitely take insight from what you were saying. But yeah, and then the fact that it's plant-based, we're just hoping that will, I know it seems like here we're catching up. Like when I go to California or I go to New York, there's so many options, but we are starting to have more plant-based options here. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
thank you.
Melissa.
Hi, Nanette. I was wondering if you have any employees or if you are doing everything like housekeeping as well.
Yes, we have the 5 rooms, and I as part of the business I don't understand quite yet, but eventually I probably will. We took on the previous owner's like tax rate for like employees. So every quarter I have to log in and say that I do not have an employee and I've not paid anything, but I have to keep doing that in order to keep like this low tax thing. But right now it's just me. Luckily, we have a commercial laundry facility in town, so that helps hugely with the laundry. Um, and my mom is the absolute best volunteer to help me clean on those busy mornings. She's 72, but she gets around. She says it's her exercise, and that is one of the reasons why we came here was to spend more time with family. So I get to do that. Yay! um, so. Yeah, it's good. Oh, and another thing, speaking of this, I don't know, totally random, not part of the question, but part of my former, I guess, working history. I worked at a cabin rental company up in Big Bear Lake. So I got to see a lot of insight on how, like, the hospitality industry, what you have to deal with as far as your bedding, sheets, towels, all of that. And I highly recommend multiple sheet sets, good quality sheet sets, good quality towels. We switched everything to white. It was all kind of mismatched. White looks so much cleaner. It's just like the hotels, so everybody feels fresh, clean. It's a pain to get makeup out. Hand sanitizer works really, really good on mascara. Just gonna put that out there. And also find a commercial laundry facility. So yes, there you go.
That's what. So what did you extern when you did your externship? Were you in the hospitality kind of space? I feel like I remember you doing some
Oh
retreat
yeah.
work.
So well, it wasn't necessarily. So up in Big Bear Lake, luckily there was a yoga retreat center. And so I worked there, and they did like I really learned a lot from Eric because they did a lot of meal prep and seeing just how that worked. I've never, the only restaurant situation I had ever worked in before was fast food, which is not the same as like preparing meals for people. So that was really eye-opening as far as, planning, meal planning, um, like the kitchen plating. He says that, he taught me like, uh, you know, number one rule of plating is have a sauce, so it's like, okay, and something green to sprinkle because that seriously helps out. If your plate is looking bland, grab the parsley, grab the chives, whatever. Um, so it was really beneficial to work with him. I was really grateful that my externship kind of catered toward what I'm doing because um, I think it was just what I needed and it helped with the transition as far as meal planning, prep, that kind of thing. And we did a lot of like vegetarian, vegan meals out there for the yoga thing. So yeah, my very grateful for my externship.
Wonderful. Yeah, it sounds like uh, just having that organization is really important, right? Because is there a day that you take off?
Yeah, that's one nice thing about having your own business is you can kind of decide what your schedule is going to be. So, um, for the most part, I when we first came, I was open like every day, all day, whatever, and it was very, very stressful. And then I was like looking back at like what kind of some of the previous years had been before we took over, and I noticed that they were always closed Mondays and Tuesdays. And I was like, wow, that's a really good idea because first of all, there are the 2 days that are really, really slow. And so I wouldn't have to be here. That would be like the other stressor was like I needed to be around for check-ins or, there's that odd one out. So I'm closed Mondays and Tuesdays, which helps me with recovery of like cleaning rooms, taking in the laundry, going if I need to go to like Columbia is our closest like city to like Sam's Club or whatever, get things over there, schedule appointments, because I'm still a person, I'm a mom, like, so if I can schedule appointments, Mondays, Tuesdays, or Wednesday mornings, that is a huge, stress relief. Because, even though we're innkeepers, we deserve days off and time. We need time too. So most people are very understanding of that. Others are not. We just were up in New Hampshire, and New England for 10 days. So that was really nice. So if you know further in advance and you can plan for it, of course, I'm immediately coming back to check-ins and a full weekend, but very grateful for, you want all the business, but you also need time off. So you really gotta plan that out. So Mondays and Tuesdays are my days off. I can still serve breakfast on Mondays, so sometimes that's not really a day off. But and are we ever really off? It's moms and business owners, no, but
Anybody else have any questions? Jasmine.
So do you do lunch or dinner or snacks or anything like that?
So I do offer, so when we took over, they did like fondue party, and something else. I don't know. I did a couple fondue parties. I've also done a couple dinner parties. And I have discovered that I do not like doing fondue and I do not like doing dinner parties. That is like, I don't know, just everybody has their thing, and there's restaurants in town that I would rather have people go and support. Gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know what is freaking out. So I've chosen not to do dinner parties unless it's like a super special thing. But I have like little charcuterie boxes, which I've sold a couple of, and I also do tea parties. Tea parties, cream tea for two, which is like a shortened version of a tea, and then a full tea party. So.
And you had said that you had ideas of what the menu would be like when you came in and then you just ended up adjusting it as you went. I'm just curious of like maybe what you wanted or what you foresaw it being.
I'm like, well, I love vegetables. Like I'm one of those weirdos that like I eat vegetables at like every meal if I can. Most people are not, my husband included. And so I was kind of bringing the California holistic food thing. I was a vegetarian for 8 years, like I hate honestly cooking meat, but I like eating meat. So I was trying to bring in more, just more, I guess, healthier food, but I'm in the middle of Missouri in the Midwest where it's meat and potatoes. And I grew up here. It was a rude awakening, like coming back going, oh yeah, by the way. And I'm not saying that's a blanket statement that nobody eats vegetables. We do. But for the most part, I have had way better results with just doing like sausage, biscuits, eggs. I always have like a really nice fruit starter, which takes up people's time while I'm making the meal, like so they're not just sitting there doing nothing. So I would start with like a fancy fruit thing. You can make the most mundane meals look fancy. So so it's all about the like flair. Even if you're just making like French toast, which is I try as often as I can to make the bread fresh. But you might be like, oh, it's just French toast. But if you like flare it up with like a special syrup or I try to do seasonal flavors for things. It goes a long way, even if maybe you're not making the fanciest quiche possible, it's all about perception, honestly. It's very much about perception. Um, and, just kind of catering to the general public is what I have. Because I don't know these people. A lot of people come in, they've never stayed at a bed and breakfast. They're scared I'm going to give them some, they see holistic chef. What does that mean? Like, what am I going to be getting? Oh, I don't do seafood. I don't want, it's like, don't worry, not on the menu. Um, so, yeah, it's all about perception, honestly. And
Thank you.
quality. Like you can't give them crap and expect good reviews. It has to taste good too.
Thank you.
I saw Michelle, you had your hand up. Do you still have a question, or maybe there you are, Michelle.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm driving, so I'm looking left and right and left and right. Hi. I was a bit late coming on, so maybe I missed this. Like, what's your square footage like? And I guess my main question is your profit margin, and do you have the ability to host events like meetings, parties, weddings,
Okay, yeah.
gatherings?
Well, I'm probably a bad business owner in that I hate paperwork and doing calculations. So I have no idea what my profit margin is. It fluctuates a lot. I can look back in my records and I know if we did better or worse than last year, or better or worse than the year before that, or how we're doing. And luckily we keep doing a little bit better, a little bit better. um,
Okay.
so I try to keep my food costs pretty steady. But with the fluctuation of either where I shop or how many breakfasts I'm serving or what I'm serving, it's hard to keep track of exactly what every meal costs. So yeah, I'm a bad business owner there and I do not know any of that information. The square footage is, we're not huge, but we're not small. I'm not really sure. It's a 3-story house. We live in the basement and I have 1 room on the main floor and 4 bedrooms upstairs. They all hold king size beds. And they all have closets that were converted into bathrooms. So everybody gets a private bathroom, which is also important to people. And for some reason, king size beds. Everyone wants a king size bed. So as far as like hosting events, we've hosted a couple dinner parties in our dining room. And honestly, the dining room comfortably can kind of seat like 14 people if we shove all the tables together and I'm very careful walking around. For the most part, it's, we do not do I hate dinner parties, so we don't do those. So yeah, it's not a huge dining room at all. We do have a nice lounge space. I've seen 50 people in our living room, and that was tight. So for a meeting. We did do a couple weddings outside in the back, but because we live where we do, weather is always a little bit scary. So we are almost an acre here. It's a little under an acre, and we have a huge backyard. And there's a gazebo that can fit like 30 white chairs in it. But the one thing we have to consider is however many people are in the backyard and it starts raining, they need to come inside for the wedding. So we actually stopped doing weddings and started just doing small elopements. And we've actually gotten more business catering to the smaller group for elopements. I went online and got the the ordained or whatever, so I can do the elopements. I've done 8 of them now over the last 3 years, which is pretty cool. And I also make the wedding cake. We have like packages and stuff, so that's kind of fun. I think I've done 5 wedding cakes and some cupcakes. But yeah, that's cool as a package to be able to do that. But yeah, we are not here for the big events. We're the small event space.
That's kind of fun though, to
Thank you.
have the ability, like, Michelle, you really made me think about like what else could you do, right? Because there's all these different options when you own the space, right? And like you said, it sounds like you are doing like these things where you're infusing food, you're infusing kind of that fun food, right? The wedding cakes, the cupcakes, the tea parties. Those seem like just so darling. Like I would love to have the ability just to have those tea parties. And are those your guests that are requesting to have those services, or will people just come for the afternoon and do a small tea party with you?
No, it's like a guest add-on that they can do. I've been called a couple times about like baby receptions or something, or the parties, but they're looking for larger spaces. So like one of the dinner parties we did was a small family, because it was to celebrate the dad, but he had bad hearing, so the restaurants were really hard for him to sit at. So I did that dinner party, and it was okay, but it's just they're a lot of work for me in my little kitchen, for the amount of like money, and everything, um, to have, and I just don't enjoy them. I don't know. That's like really stressful. It's less stressful to do breakfast than it is for me to do dinners because, like I said, I hate cooking meat and different things. I'd be way better like a vegetarian. Give me all the sides, like then I'll do that. Um, but so yeah, that was kind of just a progression of personal preference of, what we needed as a family too, because we live here and I have the kids, and like what was, how is that working and integrating into the business side. So yeah, we just found like the breakfasts are easiest. And then the tea parties are always fun because I just love baking and everything. So and I don't do tons of them by any means. You know, and I charge a premium and make it worth it, as much as I can. So
Well, wonderful. Last call for questions. We're getting to the end of our time here with Nanette. I know she's got a check-in that's happening shortly as well. So anyone else have a final question? All right, well, congratulations on your business, on the bed and breakfast. It's wonderful to hear what you're doing and to realize that you're using your skills to make people happy and to make them have the meal of the day, right? Breakfast is that meal that we want to start people off with right at the beginning of their day. So I think you're really providing a wonderful service. Thank you so much. Round of applause for Nanette.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was fun. And yes, you can go out and use your education. Do fun things.
Wonderful.
All right.
All right.